starting a group home, there are a lot of different decisions you have to make. The property, the furniture, the city. There's so many things to make a decision on. And one of those things that people like to think about is what niche, who they want to house, what demographic that they want to house. And the choice does affect a lot of things, like how your home operates or how much structure you need, how you're going to fill the beds, and how sustainable your business is long term. Some people hear about a model that worked for someone else and then they just try to copy it without asking themselves if it actually fits them. So today I wanted to just slow down and talk through how to think about your niche, who you're going to house, why it matters, and how to make the decision responsibly. So some people think this decision matters a lot. I actually don't agree with that. I think that you should pick a few different demographics that you are willing and able to house and then cast a wide net to see who is attracted to your house. But let's imagine we're starting with that wide list of all the different niches, and we're going to narrow that down to the few that you're actually interested in housing. So that's what I'm going to focus on in this video, is imagine that you're talking about all the different niches that there are, and you're trying to narrow it down to the few that you're going to cast a wide net to, because I actually do not agree with only focusing on one demographic. I don't agree with that, because that one demographic might not be attracted to your house. So when I talk about a niche in this video, I'm going to talk about narrowing it down to a few that you are going to cast a wide net to. Hopefully that was clear. So when people ask me about niches, they're usually asking it like this: which demographic will bring me the most money? But that's not really the right question. The right question is, who can I house well and consistently and ethically and without burning myself out? The niche that you choose is going to determine how involved you need to be, what kind of systems you need to have in place, and how stable your occupancy will be. Also, it depends what niche you are targeting. It matters with the licensing. I actually do not talk about licensing at all on this channel. This is all unlicensed co-living, so just shared housing for different people. Before you even think about populations, you need to be clear about what you are and are not providing. In my model, the homes provide housing only. So it's unlicensed, no medical care, no personal care, no non-medical care, no therapy, none of that. It's housing only. So that clarity alone eliminates a lot of niches right away. If you plan to offer services, that's a different conversation with different requirements. But if you're providing housing only, then your niche needs to align with that decision. So this distinction is very important, because some populations need housing, some need care, and that's not the same thing. When people mix these two, that's when things can get complicated for you. If somebody needs daily supervision or medical assistance or personal care, then housing alone is not enough. And that person would not belong in my house, because my house is a co-living, I call it a group home, but it's a co-living shared housing home. And it's basically people who are completely independent. They need no services whatsoever, and they can take care of their own ADLs, activities of daily living. Choosing a niche that matches what you're actually offering protects you and your residents. Okay, let's talk about some common niches that work well for housing only group homes. Not as a recommended list, but just as some examples to help you think about it. Independent adults. This is one of the most straightforward niches. These are adults who can live independently but benefit from shared housing because of the cost or because of the structure that provides. They pay rent, they manage their own routines, and your role, my role, is providing a clean, safe, well-run house. Seniors who are still independent. Many seniors don't need assisted living, but they also don't want to live alone. They may be on a fixed income, and they want that camaraderie and companionship and community that a co-living house can provide. The senior niche requires a calm environment with clear house rules and accessibility considerations, but not medical care. Adults with disabilities, housing only. Some adults with disabilities live independently, but they need affordable, stable housing. In this case, you are not providing services. You are providing a place to live while outside agencies handle the support that they need. This niche often involves working closely with caseworkers, social workers, and other organizations. Veterans. Veterans are another population that often needs stable housing. A lot of programs help to cover the costs of housing for veterans, which can create that consistency that we all want. Again, this is housing only, not treatment and not counseling. Individuals transitioning out of homelessness. This niche requires structure and strong boundaries. You're offering housing and stability, not social work. When done well, this can be very impactful, but it requires clear expectations and rules and strong screening. What you should consider before choosing a niche. Instead of asking which niche is the best, I recommend asking yourself some questions. Number one, what level of structure can I manage? Some populations require more house rules and oversight than other populations. Be honest about what you're comfortable enforcing consistently. Am I willing to work with outside agencies? Some niches rely heavily on caseworkers and organizations. That can be a benefit, but it also means a lot of communication and documentation. What are my personal boundaries? Your home should not feel chaotic. If a niche requires a level of involvement that you don't want to provide, that is not a good fit for you. What does my local market need? Your niche must exist in your area. A model that works in one city might not work in another city. I see the mistake a lot where people say, I'll house anybody who needs housing. That sounds very generous. But operationally, it's kind of risky because different populations have different needs. So if you mix incompatible residents, that can create some tension and some instability. So a clear niche does help you screen better and set clear expectations and build the right systems. Now, I actually I'm almost to the point where it's like I house anyone. But I don't house everyone because if someone needs help with any kind of service at all, I don't house those people. So I do have a niche, but I would say that my niche is pretty wide. It's pretty wide because I do house adult people who need housing. And I do have some women, I have some men. I started off with only housing men and they just had to be adults, adult males. And I did have some seniors and I did have some young ones. And it did sometimes create issues only because of the generations. I had some younger guys who were playing video games all the time. And then the older guys just didn't like it because that wasn't their idea of being productive, a productive member of society. So there were some little arguments that happened because of that. So maybe if I had niched down a little bit more, it would have been better. But overall, I think it was okay with my house having males of all different ages because it was more like a family situation. We had the elders and we had the young people, and they all kind of became this family unit. So I actually like having a pretty wide niche. I know that that is something that a lot of people don't agree with. People say that you should niche down, but I like a wider niche. That's just me. But do have some kind of boundaries and some kind of requirements that it takes to be in your house. Don't just take everyone. The role of referrals. Most stable co-living homes don't rely on these random inquiries. They actually rely on referrals. And referrals depends on how you clarify what your requirements are for intake. Caseworkers need to know who your home is for and who it's not for. When you're clear about who you house, referrals get easier. All right, let's talk about what I've seen go wrong. I've seen people choose niches just because they heard it was profitable without understanding the responsibilities that might come with that particular demographic. And that can lead to burnout and it can lead to conflict, like what I was talking about earlier with the men. Sometimes it leads to turnover, high turnover, and just stress in general. So the co-living model works well when the niche matches the operator. So make sure you're housing people that you want to house. When I chose my niche, I thought about who can live independently because I was not providing any services whatsoever. And who needs housing but not care, and who can thrive in a shared environment. That guided the decisions that I made as far as intake. Another important point is that your first niche doesn't have to be your forever niche. I started out with housing men only, and then I kind of widened that out and I started housing women. Then I started housing people who are transitioning their gender. And so now I pretty much house everybody. But my first house is still male only. My second house is mixed. and my third house is mixed. You can start now and expand later. It's often better to start now and learn the model, then expand. Trying to serve everyone from the beginning creates this unnecessary complexity because you're thinking about this demographic and that demographic and this demographic. Just focus on who you can house comfortably right now to start out. Who you house also might affect the lease language. There might be certain rules that you have to put into the lease because of the certain demographic that you're housing. So before finalizing your niche, make sure it aligns with what you are legally allowed to do. The emotional side of this decision. So I want to address this part too. Some people feel guilty choosing a certain niche. They worry about turning people away. But a well-run home that serves one group well is better than a poorly run house that's trying to serve everybody. So that structure creates the safety that you need. Here are some signs that you picked the right niche. You'll know that your niche fits you when your screening feels easy and referrals make sense to you and the house dynamics are stable and you're not constantly reacting to problems in the house. That's what sustainability looks like. Choosing a niche isn't only about maximizing your income. It's about building a business that lasts. So the right niche supports consistent occupancy, clear expectations, and healthy boundaries. That's what keeps my business from becoming overwhelming. Who you house matters, and it does shape the entire experience of starting this co-living business for you. So take your time with the decision and ask yourself honest questions. And choose a niche that aligns with what you're actually offering and what you can stand. If this video helped you think more clearly about choosing your niche, subscribe to the channel. I share all the tips that I've learned in the past 6 years of running my 3 co-living homes in San Antonio, Texas, while living in Los Angeles, California. I'll see you on the next video.